So guys, it's about time to remove the fuel tank, and it's attached in 3 points. What you need is a 13 socket, and you will have to remove this one. And then there's a similar on the other side, and this one, which I think is a 10, but we'll get back to it. So small wrench, and remove the nut that is holding the tank. There's a washer underneath it, and there's a rubber piece in between for the vibration. So it's pretty simple. Remove the washer. Don't lose these. So you see there's a space in between so the tank can move a little bit. So put these down. Repeat the same procedure on the other side. You can follow me as I do this. So we'll remove this one and the washer. Put that down, and then I'll get the right socket for this one and get back to you. So you'll need a 10 socket to unscrew. It's pretty long, the screw, you can see it. So I won't waste your time. I'll get back to you when this is out. So when it's out, you can just pull it straight out. Don't lose it. And that will make it you be able to just wiggle the tank and remove it. So you have to tip the tank up, and unfortunately I need both my hands, but you can see it's loose from here. There are 3 connections underneath the tank, 2 electrical, 1 is fuel line. So I'll see if I can put the tank up and show you what it looks like underneath. I forgot to tell you, there are some breather hoses here that you need to remove. Just yank on them. They are stuck. So there's one on this side and one on the other side that you need to get off. So here are the attachments for the hoses, and these are my own hoses that I change. Yours may be black. So let's go underneath. As you can see, there are 2 electrical cords and a fuel line. And the fuel line, I'll remove it and then I show you how to do that. So these are the 2 connections that goes underneath the tank, fuel tank. And there's a lip, you should put your finger in it. I'll show you here. This lip here, you just put your finger in, nail in it, and then yank it. And then for the fuel hose, you press this white piece in and yank out the fuel hose. So the tank is off, and now we get access to the intakes and everything here. Here's the ECU, and we'll start to disassemble the air intake and everything on top of the engine after that. So next we're going to remove the ECU, and you can remove this cable which goes to the throttle. Press from one side with your fingers, and then a flathead screwdriver. So you press them and then you yank this out. This is the construction. So you need to press these 2 together, and it's not a lot of space because you have the cable going in there, the harness. So this can hang on the side, and then you need to remove This guy with a TX27, I think it is. Then the whole ECU will come loose. I'll do that. So this is the screw, and there was a washer. As you can see, the ECU is loose, and it's a couple of braces. It may be strapped, but we'll leave it as it is for now. And we start to see what next step should be, and it's probably to get the harness off from this, and it's attached with a couple of screws. They look like this: one there, two there, three there, and 4 and 5 and 6. So I will unscrew these and then get back to you. So I got 6 black screws, and this thing is loose. You may have a zip tie here that you need to cut yours, and then there are a couple of connections. If you lift this up carefully, you'll see that there's one connection there, and then air sensor is there, so we need to disconnect them. I'll do that and get back to you. So you have a tab right at the end of it. I'll see if I can show you. That one, you press it down and pull out. Same thing with this guy. There's a tab there. You push it down and then pull the whole thing out. So next we need to disconnect these guys, which you do by underneath, press it in, and then pull them straight out. Hopefully it will come. Let me try that with 2 hands and get back to you. So the fuel injectors, you just press this part in and then yank them out. And as you can see, it's pretty hard to mix them. These two maybe you could mix, but I don't think it's more or less possible, so I'm not gonna mark these. So when those are out, you can lift the whole ECU and lean it back here gently, and then next step is to remove the injectors, and those are screwed with 1, 2, 3, 4 screws, and then you can pull them straight out. So there are 4 of these screws, and you need something a bit longer to gain access. And these screws are black as well as the previous ones, and they look identical, so it shouldn't matter if you mix them. I will show you. So I have removed 2 here, and these are the ones from previous part when you remove the harness, so you can see they're identical, but just for safety I'm gonna keep them apart. So 2 more screws to go. I'll remove them and then get back to you. So when you remove them, you will be able to just carefully yank this out, and you should be careful with these babies. So those are your injectors. So then that part is off. I will just remove this hose, put put it to the side. Next, we will have to remove the airbox completely, and it's attached with one screw there, one screw there, one there, and one there, and then the hose straight down there. There's a trick to that, so I will show you. But we start by unscrewing the 4 screws. And here's your air filter. So you can remove that as well if you want. So these screws, they are holding this tiny little guy here, which is some kind of protection that will go underneath. So don't lose that. So these are the screws that were at the bottom of the airbox, both of them, so they are off. And then the whole box is loose, as you can see. So you have to just make space. So next is this little clamp that you need to open. There's a hose that goes up to the airbox, and to do that you need a plier. So get a plier on the clamp and then compress it. It's reusable, it will open up. I need both my hands for that. I'll do this and then get back to you. So this is the clamp. By compressing it like this, you can close it, and then if you press it hard together when it's closed, it will pop off this rail and open. So it's reusable. And here's the airbox, and this is the hose that's connected to it. So this hose will go in between here and then connect to this guy here. So you have to feed it through, in between here, the hose, and then connect it to that guy. So these are your intakes. You definitely don't want to drop anything in there. So my tip is to put some paper towel in there or tape them shut. So I will do that and get back to you. So next we're going to remove the bottom injector and the connection. You need a flathead screwdriver to just pull this white part out, because they are, as you can see here, in. So until it clicks, and then you just grab them and pull them out. So there are 4 of them. I'll do that. And I think these don't need markings either, but I'll check and get back. So guys, next are these 4 screws, and they are pretty tight and hard, so I needed to heat them up. I think there's some kind of Loctite inside, because there's some red residue coming out as I unscrew these. So when you get these off, you'll be able to remove the lower injectors. You can see there's some red stuff on top of the screw, and then some red residue inside. So it's some kind of thread lock. So remove the last one and then remove the lower injectors. So guys, I just yanked this off, and it was pretty stuck in there, and as you can see, there's some red Loctite or thread lock. It was pretty hard. So these are sensitive. I will disconnect this, and then this tube that will go to there's a tube down here that goes to the gas tank, so I can remove the whole rack here complete. So there's a zip tie. I will cut that, and there's a lip here. Put a flat screwdriver and remove this. I'll do that and get back to you. So guys, I marked those connectors that goes to the fuel injector. Then I don't know if you guys can see, there's a zip tie there for the fuel hose that I will cut. Hope to God I remember this when it comes to putting everything back. And then the whole injection rack will come off. And this is what it looks like. And there was the electrical connection. So we'll put this aside. So guys, next step is to get this air intake out. And it's attached with 2 screws. And this looks really clean and nice. So I need to clean this part out. But it's a TX30 on both sides. So just remove the screw and be careful that you don't drop it. And I will do that and get back to you. So these are the 2 screws. They're out. So to remove this, there is a tab there that you need to press in on both sides. So if you can get a flat screwdriver, or if you can reach it with your fingers. So guys, this is the important part. If you haven't had this problem, you will. Here are the four coils, and they will break after a while. So I've done this already at track. I've exchanged coil number 1, which is in there. So these 4, you need to be able to know how to remove everything to get access to them. And of course you can do that by following this video. And what else I have changed are these small servo engines or motors that will shift the cam. They will break as well. So I've changed both of them and the sensor that goes with it. So it is important to know how to get here if you're stuck at track, and I can recommend everybody to get at least 2 coils with them to the track, or if you're racing, and at least 1, rather 2 of these babies. They're pretty expensive. They're around $600 euros each. So it's a shame, but you need to have those as a spare if you would like to have if you don't like to be stuck at track. So this is the top of the engine, and you will need to be getting so far to get access to these parts that will break after a couple of 100 kilometers. So guys, I have disconnected the coils and the motors, and the connections are, you have to pull this tab out first and then press it down and then remove it. So pull the tab out, press it down and remove it. And the coils are just pressed in, so you need to grab them. If you want to change them, grab them and just wiggle them out. And the motors are of course attached with these screws. They're pretty stuck as well, so you have to use some force to get them out. I won't be needing to remove the coils or the motors for sending the engine away. Last thing that remains here before everything is disconnected is this guy. It looks like it's the same tab, so you press this part, as you can hear it click, press it out, grab it underneath and then pull it out. I will need my both hands for that. I'll do that and then we're done here. So guys, I'm trying to find connections to the engine from the harness, so when I drop the engine nothing will break. And then you have this connection in front. As usual, you pull this part out and then you press it down and remove it, and it looks like there is an earth connection here, grounding for the harness, so I need to remove that as well. So we get rid of these cables so we don't break them. In the front, as we saw earlier, I have disconnected all these cables that goes to the coils and the camshaft engine. So I will tape this back in here and mark these two, so when the engine returns from Alpha Racing, I will know where to put what.